The crime is mental negligence, the systematic failure to take responsibility for programming your own mind. Every morning, you wake up and allow random thoughts, news headlines, social media notifications, and other people's problems to hijack your mental space without any conscious filtering or intention. You're essentially leaving the door to your mind wide open and letting anyone or anything walk in and rearrange your internal furniture. Now, this mental negligence compounds over time until you're living someone else's life instead of your own. Your thoughts aren't your thoughts. They're reactions to whatever grabbed your attention first. Your goals aren't your goals. They're confused mixtures of other people's expectations, society's definitions of success, and marketing messages designed to make you feel inadequate. You've become a mental tenant in your own mind, paying rent to thoughts and feelings that don't serve your highest good. Meanwhile, successful people treat their morning mental space like the sacred territory it actually is. They understand that mental wealth creates material wealth. They commit to conscious programming instead of random programming, intentional emotions instead of reactive emotions, and deliberate identity instead of accidental identity. The difference between mental ownership and mental negligence is the difference between designing your life and defaulting to whatever life happens to you. Your alarm goes off, and within seconds, your mind floods with the same familiar thoughts from yesterday. I'm running late again. Another stressful day ahead. I don't have enough time. Nothing ever works out for me. Before you even stand up, you've already surrendered your power to create something different. You've handed over control of your entire day to the same old patterns that have been running your life for years. But what if I told you that the first 30 seconds after you wake up hold more creative potential than the rest of your waking hours combined? What if those precious moments when your conscious mind is still soft and malleable could become the gateway to completely transforming your reality? Most people waste this golden opportunity every single morning. They allow their automatic thoughts to drag them back into the same emotional states, the same limiting beliefs, and ultimately, the same predictable outcomes they experienced yesterday. Here's what's really happening in those first moments of consciousness. Your mind is transitioning from the theta state of sleep into beta awareness. During this brief window, your subconscious mind is still accessible, still programmable. This is when you have maximum influence over the neural networks that will govern your thoughts, feelings, and actions for the entire day ahead. You're already using affirmations every morning. The question is, what kind of programming are you installing? When you wake up thinking, "I'm so tired," you're affirming tiredness. When you immediately worry about your problems, you're affirming struggle. When you focus on what you lack, you're affirming scarcity. Your mind doesn't distinguish between positive and negative programming. It simply accepts whatever you repeat with feeling and conviction. Think about this for a moment. Every morning, millions of people wake up and immediately begin reinforcing the exact reality they want to escape. They affirm their stress, their limitations, their fears, their inadequacies. Then they wonder why their lives never change, why they keep attracting the same situations, why they feel stuck in patterns they can't seem to break. The answer is simple. They're programming themselves for more of the same every single morning. This is the morning mental programming crisis that's keeping entire generations trapped in mediocrity. They feel the same emotions, make the same choices, and create the same experiences. Then they go to bed wondering why nothing in their life ever changes. They're caught in an invisible prison of habitual thinking. And the bars of that prison are strengthened every morning through unconscious mental rehearsal. There's no neutral ground here. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every internal conversation you have in those first precious minutes is either moving you closer to success or pulling you back toward familiar limitation. The compound effect of these small morning mental choices over weeks, months, and years determines whether you live a life of expansion or contraction, growth or stagnation, fulfillment or frustration. Breaking free from this cycle requires understanding what's really happening. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful hoping. This is about biological transformation at the cellular level. When you deliberately repeat specific thoughts with genuine emotion, you're literally rewiring your neural networks. You're creating new synaptic connections that didn't exist yesterday. You're changing the very structure of your mind. Here's what most people don't understand about affirmations. They're not magic words that somehow manipulate external reality. They're programming instructions for your internal operating system. Every time you repeat a thought with feeling, you're strengthening certain neural pathways while weakening others. You're training your mind to notice opportunities that align with your new programming. You're conditioning your emotional system to feel states that support your desired outcomes. The difference between hoping for change and programming for change is the difference between wishing and working. When you hope, you're essentially saying, maybe someday things will be different. When you program, you're declaring, I'm creating this change right now through my conscious choice. Programming puts you in the driver's seat of your own transformation. But here's why most affirmations fail miserably. People treat them like mechanical exercises, repeating words without any genuine feeling or conviction. They say, I am successful, while feeling unsuccessful. They declare, I am abundant, while worrying about money. This internal contradiction actually reinforces the very limitations they're trying to overcome. The morning hours between 6 and 8 a.m. offer a unique window of opportunity because your analytical mind hasn't fully activated yet. Your critical faculty, that internal voice that loves to remind you why things won't work, is still quiet. Your emotional system is more receptive to new programming. Your entire nervous system is in a state of openness that won't exist again until you return to sleep. This is why successful people throughout history have protected their morning hours so fiercely. They understand that how you begin determines how you continue and how you end. They know that the thoughts you think and the emotions you feel in the first hour of your day create momentum that carries through every subsequent hour. They recognize that morning is when champions are made, not in the heat of competition, but in the quiet moments of deliberate mental preparation. When you craft affirmations that actually work, you must understand the architecture of effective programming. First, everything must be stated in present tense as if it's already true. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand future tense. When you say, I will be successful, You're programming delay and separation. When you declare, "I'm successful now," you're programming immediate identification and alignment. Second, your affirmations must generate genuine emotion. Thought combined with elevated emotion creates transformation. When you feel grateful for success that hasn't manifested yet, when you experience joy about opportunities that haven't appeared yet, when you embody confidence before you have external proof, this is when real magic happens. You're literally pulling your future reality into your present experience through the power of feeling. Third, specificity matters tremendously. Generic affirmations create generic results. Instead of saying, "I am successful," define what success means to you. Instead of declaring, "I am abundant," specify the forms of abundance you're creating. The more specific your programming, the more precisely your mind can work to manifest those exact conditions. Your affirmations must also align with the identity you're choosing to embody. There are 3 levels of effective programming: being, doing, and having. Most people focus only on what they want to have: more money, better relationships, improved health. But sustainable change works in reverse. First, you must become the type of person who naturally has those things. Then, you automatically do the things that person would do. When you affirm, "I'm someone who makes excellent financial decisions," you're programming identity transformation. When you declare, "I'm the kind of person who attracts loving relationships," you're shifting your core sense of self. This identity level programming creates permanent change because you're not trying to get something you don't have. You're simply expressing who you already are. But here's what nobody warned you about. Your current self will fight against this new programming with everything it has. The moment you begin changing your morning thoughts, internal resistance will arise. Your old patterns will intensify their grip. Your comfort zone will activate every defense mechanism available to maintain the status quo. This resistance isn't a sign that affirmations don't work. It's proof that they're working so well that your old self feels threatened. You might wake up tomorrow morning and find it incredibly difficult to think new thoughts. This is completely normal and actually indicates that transformation is beginning. Your nervous system has been conditioned to expect certain thoughts and feelings first thing in the morning. When you disrupt this pattern, temporary discomfort is inevitable. Gratitude might be the most powerful emotion you can cultivate during morning affirmations because it tricks your mind into believing that positive change has already occurred. When you feel genuinely thankful for success you haven't yet achieved, for opportunities you haven't yet received, you're creating the emotional signature of someone who already has those things. Your mind begins organizing your life around this new emotional reality. But this isn't about forcing fake feelings or pretending everything is perfect when it isn't. This is about consciously choosing to focus on possibility rather than problems, on potential rather than limitations, on solutions rather than obstacles. When you consistently generate feelings of success, abundance, love, and joy during your morning practice, You literally become a magnet for experiences that match those emotional frequencies. This is why feeling comes before seeing in the manifestation process. Most people wait to feel successful until they achieve success. They wait to feel abundant until they have abundance. They wait to feel loved until someone loves them. Successful people reverse this process. They feel successful first, then take actions from that feeling, then create results that match that feeling. When you begin your day by generating the emotions of your desired reality, you start living from that reality immediately. You don't wait for circumstances to change to feel differently. You feel differently first, and then watch circumstances change to match your new emotional state. The identity transformation that occurs through consistent morning affirmation practice is perhaps the most profound benefit of all. This shift from wanting to being happens gradually through daily practice. At first, you might feel like you're pretending or lying to yourself. This is normal. You're literally learning a new language. The language of possibility rather than limitation. Like any new language, it feels awkward and unnatural at first. But with consistent practice, this new way of thinking and feeling becomes automatic. You don't have to force yourself to act differently when you genuinely feel different. You don't have to remember to make better choices when your identity naturally makes better choices. You don't have to struggle to maintain positive habits when those habits flow naturally from who you've become. This is why personality transformation through morning practice creates permanent change rather than temporary improvement. When you change your thoughts, you might experience temporary shifts. When you change your emotions, you might feel better for a while. But when you change your identity, your fundamental sense of who you are, everything else changes automatically and permanently. The person you become through consistent morning affirmation and practice naturally attracts the success you've been programming. You don't have to chase opportunities, they find you. You don't have to force outcomes, they unfold naturally. You don't have to struggle for what you want. It flows to you as a natural expression of who you've become. Implementing this practice requires understanding several key principles. First, consistency matters more than perfection. It's better to practice for 10 minutes every morning than to practice for an hour once a week. Your nervous system responds to repetition and routine. The optimal duration for most people is between 15 and 30 minutes. This gives you enough time to shift out of automatic thinking and into conscious creation without making the practice feel overwhelming or time-consuming. If you're just beginning, start with 5 or 10 minutes and gradually increase as the habit becomes established. The frequency should be daily, ideally at the same time each morning. Your nervous system loves predictability. When you practice at the same time each day, you create a ritual that your mind and body begin to anticipate and prepare for. This makes accessing elevated states much easier over time. Creating the right environment enhances the effectiveness of your practice significantly. Choose a space where you won't be interrupted. Turn off your phone or put it in another room. Eliminate distractions that might pull your attention away from your internal work. Some people find soft music helpful, while others prefer complete silence. The key is consistency. Use the same space and same setup each morning, so your mind associates that environment with transformation. There will be mornings when you don't feel like practicing. Your old self will offer every excuse in the book to skip your session and return to automatic living. This is exactly when the practice matters most. The mornings when you don't feel like choosing elevated thoughts are the mornings when choosing elevated thoughts creates the most growth. Anyone can feel good when everything is going well. Building consistency without perfectionism pressure is crucial for long-term success. You don't have to feel amazing every morning. You don't have to have perfect focus during every session. You don't have to generate intense emotions every single time. You simply have to show up and make the effort consistently. Some days will feel more powerful than others. Some mornings will flow effortlessly, while others feel challenging. This variation is completely normal and doesn't indicate failure. The goal is not perfection. Each morning that you choose conscious creation over automatic reaction, you're succeeding. Each time you speak affirmations instead of complaints, you're winning. Each moment you generate elevated emotion instead of familiar limitation, you're transforming. Several common mistakes can block your results and keep you stuck in old patterns. The first is rushing through affirmations without genuine feeling or conviction. Mechanical repetition without emotional engagement creates minimal change. Your subconscious mind responds to feeling more than words. Take time to really feel each statement. Allow the emotions to build naturally. Let yourself experience what it would feel like if these affirmations were already completely true. Using generic statements that don't resonate personally is another major mistake. Customize your programming to match your specific goals, values, and desired experiences. The more the affirmations reflect your authentic desires, the more power they'll have to create change. Transformation requires sustained effort over time. Practicing intensely for a few days, then taking a week off, creates minimal lasting change. Your nervous system needs regular reinforcement to establish new patterns. It's much better to practice briefly every day than to practice extensively once in a while. During your morning practice, maintain complete focus on your desired reality. Save analysis, doubt, and problem solving for other times of day. Your morning session should be purely creative and affirmative. Real change takes time. Your current patterns didn't develop overnight, and they won't disappear overnight. Trust the process. Stay committed to daily practice, even when you don't see immediate external results. The internal changes are happening before the external changes become visible. The compounding effect of daily practice becomes obvious after about 30 days of consistent morning affirmations. The first week might feel forced or awkward, The second week usually feels more natural. By the third week, you'll notice subtle shifts in your thinking patterns throughout the day. By the fourth week, other people will begin commenting on changes they notice in your energy, attitude, or behavior. After 60 days of practice, the changes become undeniable. Your automatic thoughts will be more positive. Your emotional baseline will be higher. Your responses to challenging situations will be calmer and more solution-focused. Your confidence will be stronger. Your sense of possibility will be expanded. You'll notice opportunities that you would have missed before. Most importantly, you'll feel like a different person because you will be a different person. You'll have literally rewired your nervous system for success instead of struggle, abundance instead of scarcity, love instead of fear. Opportunities appear, solutions become obvious, people respond to you differently, circumstances align in your favor. What actually happened is that months of internal programming began expressing itself in external reality. The changes were building all along. When you begin with elevation, your day unfolds with more ease, flow, and positive outcomes. When you start with appreciation, you notice more things to appreciate throughout your day. When you commence with confidence, you take bolder actions and create better results. When you genuinely feel successful, you naturally make choices that successful people make. When you authentically feel abundant, you automatically behave in ways that create more abundance. When you truly feel loved and loving, you spontaneously take actions that attract more love into your life. Eventually, affirmations become unnecessary because you've become the person you are affirming. The emotions that once required effort to generate now arise naturally throughout your day. The identity you once aspired to embody now feels like your authentic self. You no longer have to remember to think positive thoughts. Confidence becomes your normal way of being. If you've made it this far, then hear this loud and clear. You're ready. Ready to break old patterns. Ready to rewire your mind. Ready to rise. You didn't just listen, you committed. And that says everything about where you're headed. Now let's keep that momentum alive. When you sign up using the link below, you'll receive a powerful morning affirmation audio delivered to your email daily. Your personal reminder to stay focused, stay aligned, and keep moving forward. This is your time, your journey, and every day is a new chance to become the person you were meant to be. Thank you for listening and for believing in yourself. Keep showing up, and success will follow.